welcome to the show. Listen, I have purchased, Bryan, so many bread-making gadgets and machines, and all of them now live with other people because I bought them and I did not use them.
I've never used a bread maker before, so I can't attest to their quality, but I do have these two bread makers right here that we're going to be using today.
So if you've got two of these, basically, we're in the game.
Boom.
So here we go.
Two of these.
We got two of these, and we're in the game. So you start out with something I have to admit is very intimidating. I have some of it in the front of the jar here. This is the base for all of your bread here.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you have there is called a sourdough starter, and I'm going to take 10 seconds to demystify it for you guys. Basically, you mix flour and water together over the course of 4 to 5 days. Once you start to see it rise and fall, you'll know it's ready to make bread. And here's a trick I use. I actually use a rubber band on my container. So when I feed it, it's here, and once it grows, I'll know that it's almost doubled in size and it's ready to be used. So that's kind of the quick rundown.
Is that, equal portions, flour and water?
Yeah, you can do a variety of things, but sometimes it's just a 1-to-1 ratio.
Okay.
100 grams of flour, 100 grams of water, or 1 cup flour, 1 cup water.
And it has to be sealed.
Absolutely. I keep mine covered in a container like this.
Okay.
You can also cover it with a cloth. You can cover it with plastic wrap. Covering it's a great idea to keep the air and moisture under control.
So we're talking about 4-day commitment here, but about just a few minutes of those 4 days a day.
Just a couple minutes a day. It's,
Okay.
5 minutes of mixing flour and water together. You leave it there, you go about your day, and you come back 24 hours later to do it again.
So we've done that for 4 days. So we have our kit there, our starter kit. Now what?
All right, so we're gonna make focaccia. It's an Italian flatbread. It's really delicious and simple to make. Just 5 ingredients here, guys. We've got half and half of all-purpose and bread flour, and that gives you a nice mixture between airiness and chewiness. All right, so we're gonna add that into our bowl.
Right.
All right,
And
so
it's
we're
key to have those 2 different flours, right? Don't skimp out on
listen, honestly, you use what you got. If you just have all-purpose flour, go for it. If you just have bread flour, go for it. I like to balance it like that to get that perfect little mixture. Okay, next we're gonna add our water. Cold water is optimal to keep our temperature under control, but warm water works as well. So we're just gonna add it all into the bowl.
You know what I like about this already? You do add some flexibility because a lot of people get intimidated by baking because it's a science and you feel like if you don't do it exact. So you've already given us some wiggle room with the flour, even with the temperature of the water.
A lot of wiggle room.
Okay.
A lot of wiggle room. All right, so we're gonna add some olive oil. That's gonna add the creaminess into our focaccia to make it nice and delicate. So we're gonna add our olive oil into it. We're gonna add some sugar, and that's what gives that nice crispy color on the top of the focaccia, that nice golden brown color. And we're gonna add a good bit of salt here. Coarse salt is fine, any salt you got. We're adding it straight into the bowl. That's what when you learn about me, I like to just add it all into the bowl. It's very simple.
This is fun to make with kids, too. I like it.
It is fun to make with kids because it's like an excuse to make a mess.
Yeah, right.
Except for you gotta do all the cleaning.
All right, so we mix this up.
Yeah, I usually use my hands. The spatula you're using is fine, but I usually just use my hands. All right.
Well, you're near a sink, so that's why I won't use mine. I don't have a sink near me.
The sink. Yeah.
All right, so you mix it up.
So we're gonna mix it up until you don't have much dry flour left. All right, and I usually use this kind of squeezing technique here.
Look
I
at
just
you.
kind of get with both hands in there, squeezing. I know I'm under pressure here. I gotta make this dough. I gotta get it ready.
All right, well, funny enough, I must be a better baker than you because I'm done with my dough. Where did that come from? I don't know how this magically happened, but I'm embracing my inner baker. So I have a finished dough product here while you're over there struggling. So
and you're over there with a pristine bowl of dough. How'd that happen?
I don't know, but when we come back, my man Bryan is gonna go wash his hands and he's gonna show us how the basic focaccia spring garden sensation is taking over. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Chef Bryan Ford is still with us, sharing his secrets to baking the perfect spring focaccia. Before the break, we were making our dough, and Bryan was knee-deep in his dough. Oh, yes. So how long do we have to mix the dough and knead it around there?
Usually takes about 5 minutes, unless you're a superstar like yourself.
Okay, so we've got our dough. It's been sitting for how long now, theoretically?
We let it sit for 4 hours,
Okay.
all right, until it doubles in size. And then what we're going to want to do is get a little bit of flour onto our work surface here, just like this. And I usually also put some flour on the top of the dough. And we're just going to dump it out.
Do you sit the dough out for that length of time, or does it stay in the refrigerator that length of time?
No, it's sitting out at room temperature.
Okay, got it.
Sitting out at room temperature here, all right, and it's covered, all right?
All right.
And what you're looking for in a consistency is kind of this web-like structure here.
Oh, I have it.
Okay.
Oh, I've got a web.
You do have that web-like structure. You've got quite a bit of web-like structure. That's great.
That's good.
Put a little flour on this side as well and form it almost into a triangle if possible, where there's the pointy tip of the triangle is in front of you. All right. There you go. That's about right.
Okay.
Now, you're going to want to watch very carefully before you do this, just to make sure we're on the same page.
All right.
All right. I've got my dough here. I'm flattening it out. And I'm going to take the tip of this kind of triangle shape that I've made, and I'm going to put it into the middle. All right. And I'm going to be building tension into the dough. I want to put tension into the dough so that it stays nice and tight.
Okay, got it.
There we go. There we go. There we go. Try to use this part of your fingers. Try to use the outside.
What does that do?
Because you're not going to get as much stickiness onto your hand. Let's see if I can even rotate here for you to see. So I want to use this part of my hand and then push a little bit into the dough.
Basically,
see how it kind of jiggles there?
I'm imitating what it looks like when I put my jeans on since I gained weight during COVID.
No comment there. No comment. Hey.
So we have a pan in front of us. We put a little olive oil. Oh, so go ahead. I'll watch yours because yours is perfectly formed.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do here very simply is I'm going to get some olive oil onto my pan. And that's going to help develop that crispness on the bottom once we bake it.
Beautiful.
All right. I'm going to place it right here on the pan.
Okay.
I'm going to hit it with a little more olive oil. All right. I'm going to rub that in. And then I'm going to drizzle a little bit of salt so that I can penetrate the dough while it sits in the fridge overnight. All right. This dough is going to go into the fridge for 12 hours so that it can develop flavor and ferment so that it's more digestible for you. So we're going to cover it with plastic wrap. And we're going to go straight into the fridge for 12 hours.
Okay. And I'm going to fast forward here because I have what it looks like after 12 hours of being in the refrigerator. Bryan has his. We've spread mine out a little bit, but you have a technique. You play the piano, and you have a technique for spreading the dough after it's been in for 12 hours.
I do play the piano, all right? And so this is my dough after 12 hours. We're going to hit it with a little more olive oil, all right? I wouldn't call this my technique. It's a technique I learned from a master baker when I worked at a bakery. But you want to use the balls of your fingers, all right?
Yeah.
And you kind of want to just gently push into the dough.
Oh, that's beautiful.
All right? You don't want to penetrate or break the dough on the bottom. You just want to push forward like you're playing a couple piano chords. All right? And once you get all the way down, you want to just kind of open your hands up and go.
Oh, my gosh. That looks like a massage, right? This, again, looks complicated, but the steps that you've laid out, which will be on our website, TamronHallShow.com, lays this all out. This is why I liken these complicated recipes to therapy, because if you do have that time to kind of escape from work or escape from family on the weekend and really dive into something like this, it just I don't know, it has an effect on me. So we've got this here. Let's move on to the toppings, if that's okay. So I want to see how you finish this out here.
Yeah, so we've got our focaccia. It's touching the edge of the pans. We've got those nice peaks and valleys that are holding in some olive oil. All right, and I'm going to bring out some toppings here. They call these the spring focaccia or the garden focaccia because you can basically go out to your garden, take whatever you got out there, bring it inside, and throw it on here, all right? So we're going to make a floral pattern. I'm using asparagus, cherry tomatoes, some red onions, some herbs, and some carrots, all right? I usually start with a couple slices, thick slices of red onion that kind of imitate the like flower bulb, all right? And we're gonna just kind of place those, one in the middle, and one off to the side a little bit lower, all right? And that onion, when it cooks, is gonna release some of that aromatic sweetness and some of that savoriness. We've hit it with some olive oil and some sea salt. We're gonna pop it in the oven at 450 for 15 to 20 minutes. All right.
Do we do the middle rack or the top rack? How do you rack this out?
We like to do the middle rack so the bottom doesn't burn too much and the top doesn't burn too much. You get the perfect amount of heat on the top and the bottom, so you get the perfect color baked for your focaccia.
Yours looks beautiful. I have mine here with me.
Oh, the grand reveal.
Yes. I mean, I just
It
baked
looks
all day over
wonderful.
this thing, you know?
That's a beautiful bake. You got nice color there, great asparagus distribution. I love it.
Oh, I like that. You're like a judge on Dancing with the Stars. Here's the deal, though, Bryan.
is.
I have a confession to make. This is a commitment. You know, it's going to take 4 days to make our starter. But once I get that part, it's not as long of a process as it feels.
Yeah, a lot of baking is just waiting, having patience. So similar to the braised meat, you know, you get your dough in the bowl and you just let it sit there. You go about your day, you do your thing, then you shape it. Again, we're talking about 2-3 minutes at a time of actual work, and then just waiting.
It takes patience. All right, cool. I like that. So I've got my bread here. This is beautiful.
It looks absolutely amazing. How does it smell? Are you smelling any aromas?
It looks like an Instagram picture, first of all. Let me just say that. I've got my bread knife here.
Oh, you're cutting into it. You know what I like to do? I like to actually just rip into it.
Oh,
Just
well,
like this.
listen, you
I like
haven't
to just
said
rip
anything.
straight into
I've been
it, just
lifting
like that.
dough. I've
Get
got
in there.
muscles.
There you go.
I
Look
love
at
it.
that. Look at that. Look at the
Okay.
fermentation
Stephanie,
you've developed.
Valerie, rip the bread.
Let's go.
Rip it.
It's literally
Yeah.
called breaking bread for a reason.
Yes.
Breaking bread. And just, hey, rip it up. And just
Delicious.
take a big old bite of that.
Okay, if you were at my dinner party, Bryan, you'd be at the kids' table eating with that big piece of bread.
I would be at the kids' table, but that's how it is sometimes.
This is absolutely amazing. Storage-wise, how long? Because if I'm going to make this commitment and have this much bread, I don't want it just to be a one-night thing.
I took a real bite there because I'm actually hungry. So give me like 2 seconds. But storage-wise, focaccia is actually best eaten 24 hours after it's baked. It has a long shelf life, so you can just wrap it in plastic and let it sit on your countertop all week.
And talk about a stunning presentation. When you walk out with this and put this in the middle of the table for your family or friends, you'll be praised for the rest of the year. Thank you so much, Bryan. His new cookbook, New World Sourdough, is available now.